Alright guys, welcome back to the Double Battles Ladder series. Today we're going to be doing some battles on VGC. This is a new updated team, and if you may have noticed, the microphone quality is a little bit better. I'm using a different alternative method to record now, and I'm trying to see if this is, just better for improvement purposes. I really didn't like the old microphone since it was very echoey and it felt kind of off. But yeah, anyway, so we're already going to be starting off with an opponent from rank 9. We're still at the Great Ball tier. So let's check our opponent. He is running a Sand team, a very standard one with Tyranitar, Excadrill, Gyarados, Rotom, Heat, Gastrodon, and Bribery. And in our team we have Crawdaunt, Reuniclus, Grimmsnarl, Hatterene, Skylier, and Torkoal. Many of these Pokemon you've seen being recycled, but now we're introducing Hatterene, which is a really, really good Trick Room setter, and Crawdaunt, who I feel like is a sleeper pick because adaptability is just really ridiculously good. So what are we going to do here? Ideally, we would want a Trick Room and then just start, taking bits off of his team. I think Torkoal is an amazing matchup because not only is it super defensive, but we're actually running a weakness policy set. It's very unorthodox, and it's not necessarily so good for best of threes since your opponent can figure out when to hit you super effective and whatnot. But assuming that the Tyranitar is weakness policy, we want to be a little bit careful. So what I'm going to do is lead off with Grimmsnarl to set up a screen, and then Hatterene for the Trick Room. And so what we would also do is bring the Torkoal for the weakness policy boost because, we're going to assume that he can hit us super effective with either Earth Power, Rock Slide, another Rock Slide, or a Waterfall that we can definitely tank. And then our last Pokemon, we're going to actually go with Crawdaunt just because Crawdaunt deals really well with Rotom, Heat, and Gastrodon, assuming that, Trick Room is up and such. So let's see how this goes. The biggest flaw about this team itself is that if you cannot get up Trick Room, you're in a very bad position. So it's just up to us to manage well. And yeah, so I'm hoping he leads with Excadrill and Tyranitar, and then we avoid flinches. So let's see how this game starts. My opponent sends out Gyarados and Tyranitar, and we're sending out Grimmsnarl and Hatterene. Now I like this because I can easily set up Reflect and then go for a Trick Room, and I don't have to worry if he wants to go for, let's say, I don't think he has a super effective Steel type attack on his team right now. What I am a little bit concerned is if he goes for Rock Slide and Waterfall, because then that's a lot of flinches. The probability of flinches becomes greater. I know it's 30% chance plus 30% chance, and then, it's unlikely. Rather, it's I would say it's a 50% chance that we'll be fine. So I'm just going to set up Reflect, and then I'm going to go for the Trick Room as I've been telling you guys. The strategy behind this Hatterene is that it's very bulky. It's supposed to take a bunch of hits, specifically physical. So yeah, Gyarados gets withdrawn, and I believe he sends out the Excadrill. Okay, this is amazing. So what happens is we get our Reflect. So now Tyranitar's, I'm assuming Rock Slide, is going to do less damage. Hopefully, okay, Grimmsnarl avoids. Okay, so hopefully we don't get the flinch because I would really appreciate if we could, get this Trick Room. Awesome. So Trick Room is now up. This means that now we can start setting up Magic Powder. Now Hatterene is a very unique Pokemon because, not only is it a really offensive and defensive Trick Room setter, but it also has access to a lot of cool support moves. So what I can do here is Power Swap onto the Excadrill because right now I'm at -1, right? And that -1 will be transferred into Excadrill, so I don't have to worry about too many super effective hits coming from the Excadrill. At the same time, I can also Magic Powder the Tyranitar so that Crawdaunt can go ahead and pick up a one-hit KO with the knockoff in the scenario where he does want to, pick up some KOs. Or I could even go for Darkest Lariat onto the Tyranitar and get a super effective hit. The issue with this is that it will crop up his weakness policy, but at the same time, I think this is going to be an okay turn because he will lose his stab, right? He's not going to be doing super effective. Okay, this is better. So he was going to lose his stab anyway. So here, Gastrodon is actually going to be losing its same type attack bonus, which is ridiculously good because we have, remember, the Torkoal in the back. And, in general, Gastrodon could be a little bit of an issue. So right now, I'm at neutral because I went for the Power Swap. You'll see how much damage that... Okay, that actually did a lot of damage. Okay, it's Life Orb. So Excadrill's at -1 right now. So with -1 and Reflect, it wasn't supposed to do that much, but it's Life Orb, so there's that. So yeah, and now what we can start doing is going for the Darkest Lariat onto the, Gastrodon. The Gastrodon could Dynamax, and that would be okay because... that actually wouldn't be okay. So what we could also do, hear me out, set up a Light Screen, and then we're going to switch out into Torkoal getting the weakness policy boost, because now we know that he wants to go for either a steel type attack or a ground type attack. And if you notice, he's been going for high horsepower onto the Hatterini, so it assumes that it looks like he's predicting for me to switch into, you know, something like Torkoal. So there's that. I'm setting up the light screen just in case if he wants to double up. Torkoal is bulky enough to take an earth power and a high horsepower with the respective screens. And, you know, after this turn, I think we'll still have 3 turns left to Trick Room, and this would mean that, you know, Torkoal would start sweeping. And if something goes wrong, if he gets a crit, or if, you know, Grimmsnarl just goes down, we have Crawdaunt in the back as well. I normally reserve Crawdaunt as a non-Trick Roomer, just because, like, my team is Trick Room heavy, but then Crawdaunt takes care of, you know, the after game. But anyway, so Crawdaunt comes in, brings out the Drought. So I go for the light screen. There's no Dynamax plays here, so we're still at a good, you know, point. So yeah, there goes the Earth Power, exactly as we predicted. The light screen is going to allow me to survive this, and then I'm going to have the weakness policy boost. And if Excadrill also wants to go for high horsepower, that's totally fine. Okay, we're good. So Iron Head onto the Grimmsnarl. I'm going to do a bunch of damage. That was not a crit. Again, that's just the power of Life Orb. So, like I said, if something went wrong, that's okay, because we still had Crawdaunt in the back. So now, what we can do is, with the weakness policy boost, we can go ahead and Dynamax our own Torkoal and, you know, start picking up some KOs. The cool part is, I could, right now, Gastrodon is actually Psychic type. So what I can do here is go for Darkest Lariat onto the Excadrill, because we know Excadrill wants to get rid of Grimmsnarl, and most likely Torkoal. But it doesn't threaten Torkoal right now, just because Torkoal is more physically defensive than special. So we're going to try to get rid of the Gastrodon. And if you notice, we still have 2 turns of Trick Room left. So ideally, what we're going to do is Darkest Lariat the Excadrill, Dynamax, and then Flare, and then Max Flare will it pick up the KO? Yeah, I'm assuming it's going to pick up the KO. So the reason why I'm doing this is because if he also wants to switch into Tyranitar, I still have the weather boost from the Max Flare. But this is okay. So I'm going to Dynamax. He doesn't switch out or anything. We don't know if he's going to Dynamax either, because Dynamaxing's sequence goes with who goes first. And right now, since we're in Trick Room and Torkoal's the slowest Pokemon on the field, it's going to go first. So Torkoal will now be Dynamaxing, gain some HP, a little bit more bulky. Looks like we're just where we started. He is not going to be Dynamaxing. Gastrodon protects. Okay, that's it. And like I said, we're going to go for Darkest Lariat onto... Oh, double protect. Okay. I think that's a very smart play, but we still have one more turn of Trick Room, so it's not too bad right now. Thing is, I get to keep up the weather and such, so, you know, we're just going to be doing some neutral damage here. And yeah, that did a lot. So it would definitely put it in KO range for... Actually, Darkest Lariat. So I could, theoretically, Darkest Lariat the Gastrodon right now, and then, you know, go for the Max Flare onto the Excadrill, and then we should be fine. And so here, I'm not hitting anything for super effective. At least if Tyranitar comes in, it's not going to be so bad. What I could also do is just Max Quake. So I could also just Max Quake the Excadrill. I'm just really afraid that Tyranitar gets the weakness policy boost, because that's something we really don't want to do. And right now, since actually Excadrill threatens Grimmsnarl, we may need Grimmsnarl for an extra turn to reset the Reflect. Okay, so he's withdrawing. That's probably a Tyranitar. Okay, it's Gyarados. Okay, that's not bad, because, you know, following turn I can Power Swap, and I think we're fine. So yeah, that's not too bad. So, okay, he is going to withdraw into Tyranitar, so the cool thing is that now he sets up Sandstorm, but since I went for the Max Flare anyway, it's going to reset the Sun for us, which means that his special defense is weak, making Hatterini and Torkoal still a little bit of a threat to Tyranitar. Now, obviously, this isn't going to do too much, because I believe... Whoa, okay, wow, +2 is actually crazy. That's not super effective... Okay, it's crit, that's fine. I was going to say. But yeah, that's not super effective under Sandstorm. If it, you know, if we still have the Sun out, probably that would KO. But yeah, so we're going for Darkest Lariat onto the Gyarados. I think this is fine. You know, some chip damage is here. So yeah, here's the thing. The Reflect finally ends, and we don't have Trick Room anymore. We still have one more turn of Dynamax. So what I'm going to do is, again, set up the Reflect. Because, again, I could just Power Swap, which is fine, and I think that's a great option. But Reflect is more important since it cuts things in half, rather than the debuff of an Intimidate, which is 0.66 times 0.66. So, you know, 1/2 is better than 1/3 here. And then for my final turn, you know, he still has Gastrodon, he still has everything. I think Max Overgrowth. You know, the crazy part is if he protects Tyranitar, I can still hit him for super effective, and I'm +2. I think Max Quake onto the Tyranitar is the best play, because if he protects, you know, it's still gonna be like, he still hasn't Dynamaxed either, so he could probably just Dynamax the T-Tar protect, but at the same time, like, I'm at +2, and that's the huge advantage that I have right now. Okay, yeah, that's probably Tyranitar. No, wait. Yeah, that's probably Tyranitar. Yeah, that has to be Tyranitar. So Tyranitar can also just max Rockfall, which would pick up a KO. So, yeah, not necessarily the best position now that I'm thinking about it, but at the same time, you know, assuming, I mean, Tyranitar is always, like, super physically offensive, right? So I don't know how much Reflect is going to do. Plus, he can just double up with Gyarados and such, so we'll see what happens. So, yeah, I'm going to Reflect. I still have 176 HP. I think that's okay. Ooh. Oh, interesting. Okay, so he goes for the Earthquake. Gets a crit on his own Tyranitar. That's very unfortunate. Maybe he wanted to, you know, proc up his own weakness policy and then for sure pick up the KO. But it's super unfortunate that he got that critical hit. Lucky for us, we're able to, you know, continue the turn. But we also tried to target down the Tyranitar, so Max Quake isn't going to do anything to Gyarados, who is a flying type. So yeah, this game is coming down to a very interesting position since, you know, we got rid of the Tyranitar, which honestly, in my opinion, was the biggest threat. He probably wants to bring Excadrill here, because Excadrill is, you know, not only super fast, but threatens both Grimmsnarl and Torkoal. Yeah, so he could just Earthquake Waterfall. So then it comes down to what my... Okay. It comes down to what my Crawdont can do. So here's the thing, since I'm at -1 again, I'm going to Power Swap the Excadrill, because Excadrill is the one that threatens us the most. Since I still have the Sun, I think I'm going to go for Solar Beam onto... Does Excadrill... Yeah, I think Excadrill gets access to some fighting type moves. I'm not too worried about the fact that I have... I could... Okay. What I could also do is, remember, I still have a full HP Crawdont in the back. Hatterene still has a Babiri Berry. So, okay, what I'm going to do is exactly that. I'm going to Power Swap the Excadrill to make sure that it doesn't become a threat to the incoming Hatterene. And I believe I'm just going to sacrifice Torkoal. Do I want to do that, though? Okay, no. I'm actually going to switch into Crawdont. So what's going to happen is I'm going to assume that, you know, he goes for high horsepower, or he just doubles up onto the Torkoal and such. But what I'm going to do is kind of sacrifice the Crawdont. Shoutouts to Crossum the Crawdont. And, yeah, so here comes the Power Swap. I have Reflect. I know he's still Life Orbed and such, so that's another thing. The fact that he keeps on taking recoil damage from Life Orb kind of makes him less threatening. But here comes the Waterfall. Ooh, onto Grimmsnarl. Okay. I think that's interesting, because I thought he was going to go for the Waterfall into, you know, Crawdont. But, okay. Crawdont takes that pretty good. Grimmsnarl takes it really good. Light Screen's off. That's fine. I'm not too worried about that just yet. And I'm actually going to go for Darkest Lariat onto... Well, here's the thing. His Gyarados can't kill me. Okay, I'm going to go for Darkest Lariat. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go Darkest Lariat onto Excadrill and then knock off onto Gyarados. This will pick up the KO. And yes, while it's not the Life Orb that's now concerning me, because I could say... Because with Reflect and the Babiri Berry, I'm pretty sure I can take a Life Orb Iron Head at 50%. Which is why I'm not super threat. And there's the Power Whip. We missed the power. Okay, that's very unfortunate. I completely forget that Gyarados gets access to a very powerful grass type attack. So yeah, we definitely got lucky on this one. Yeah, this game kind of went on our favor on a bunch of turns, because, you know, he missed the Power Whip. He got a crit on his own Earthquake. And, you know, here comes the Darkest Lariat. We're at neutral. Should do some damage. Yeah, okay, picks up the KO. Awesome. So even if, let's say even if he did, yeah, actually if he did pick up, if he did attack with Power Whip, he would have KO'd Crawdont, and then he would have went for high horsepower onto the Grimmsnarl, ultimately picking up the KO. So yeah, like I said, I think we just kind of cheesed the luck of this game. I do not know if Gastrodon is considered still a Psychic type because of Magic Powder. I think that the effects wear off, so we will not find out because the opponent forfeits. But yeah, that was an amazing game. Definitely proves how Pokemon is RNG based, how there's a lot of, you know, luck involved. So, you know, good game to my opponent. And yeah, maybe we should have played a little bit more careful around, you know, Power Whip Gyarados.